What if I told you that just 10 simple commandments changed the course of human history forever? Thousands of years ago, after God delivered the Israelites from slavery in Egypt, He led them to a mountain called Sinai. There, surrounded by thunder, lightning, and the sound of a heavenly trumpet, God gave Moses a set of commandments. These weren't just rules. They were principles meant to guide people toward a life of faith, wisdom, and peace. Even today, thousands of years later, the 10 Commandments remain some of the most well-known teachings in the world. Let's take a look at each one and discover why they still matter. The first commandment, Exodus 23 says, "You shall have no other gods before me." God wanted His people to understand that He alone was their creator, provider, and savior. In a world filled with distractions, wealth, power, and endless things competing for our attention, this commandment reminds us to put God first. The second commandment, Exodus 24:5 says, "You shall not make for yourself a carved image. You shall not bow down to them, nor serve them." The people of ancient times often worshipped statues made of stone, wood, or gold. But God knew that anything can become an idol if it takes His place in our hearts. An idol isn't always a statue. It can be anything we value more than our relationship with God. The third commandment, Exodus 27 says, "You shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain." God's name is holy. This commandment teaches us to speak about Him with honor, respect, and sincerity. Our words have power, and how we speak reflects what is in our hearts. The fourth commandment, Exodus 28 says, "Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy." God instructed His people to set aside one day each week for rest, worship, and reflection. In a world that never seems to slow down, this commandment reminds us that rest is not a weakness, it's a gift. The fifth commandment, Exodus 20:12 says, "Honor your father and your mother, that your days may be long upon the land which the Lord your God is giving you." Families are one of God's greatest blessings. This commandment teaches respect, gratitude, and love toward parents and those who care for us. When families are strong, communities become stronger too. The sixth commandment, Exodus 20:13 says, "You shall not murder." Human life is precious because every person is created in the image of God. This commandment reminds us of the value and dignity of every human being. It calls us to choose compassion, forgiveness, and peace over hatred and violence. The seventh commandment, Exodus 20:14 says, "You shall not commit adultery." God designed marriage to be built on trust, loyalty, and commitment. This commandment protects relationships and encourages faithfulness. Strong relationships are built when people keep their promises and honor one another. The eighth commandment, Exodus 20:15 says, "You shall not steal." God calls us to respect what belongs to others, whether it's money, possessions, opportunities, or trust. Taking what isn't ours damages relationships and communities. Honesty and integrity create a foundation for a better life. The ninth commandment, Exodus 20:16 says, "You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor." Simply put, do not lie. Truth matters. Lies can destroy reputations, friendships, families, and trust. God desires His people to be known for honesty, fairness, and truthfulness. The 10th commandment, Exodus 20:17 says, "You shall not covet your neighbor's house. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife, nor anything that belongs to your neighbor." Coveting means constantly longing for what belongs to someone else. their house, their success, their possessions, their life. God knew that jealousy could quietly grow in the heart and steal our joy. Instead of comparing ourselves to others, He calls us to live with gratitude for the blessings we already have. At first glance, the 10 Commandments may seem like a list of rules, but they are much more than that. The first 4 commandments focus on our relationship with God. The last 6 focus on our relationship with other people. Together, they teach us how to love God and how to love our neighbors. No one is perfect, but we must try to have integrity, love, and respect in our hearts. Remember, we are all unbreakable through Him.